Hello world! WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. Obviously, there are a few slime chunks here, so I'm just looking at the progress of the quarries rather, and this one hasn't hit redstone yet, though this one has, so that is a very good thing. Now, I could stop it here and manually rock cutter the redstone so I have a bit more of a gain, though that is not the automated way. So let's move onwards, and that was very close to death and destruction for me. So, what are we going to do today? What we're going to do is try to develop our systems a bit better. Now, I believe we've got quite a few diamonds from this. There's no more, anything from here, so it's pretty much 11 diamonds. That's good enough. We'll probably kickstart that at a later time, but let's jump into our Jade Apiary Age and then get started with a bit of the wiring that will be needed. So as you see in my inventory, I have 10 of each lamp pretty much picked out, so just gonna put a few more stone bricks so we can get this pretty much out of the way. We're still going to need to work a bit more on the guts here, though this might be one of those wiring jobs that I'm going to need to work on in my spare time instead of focusing as its primary thing. Now, I might have some more stone that I'll be able to change into the slabs, and we got more than enough wires, I think, to get everything else. We got some more IO expanders and some... Why do I have copper? I have no clue. And a bunch of random oddities. So I'm probably will... That's very odd. There must have been some sort of inventory duplication there. I'll find it eventually. Yeah, there is. What? Okay, that is just not fair. So, I might as well throw the better one out. I have no idea why that happens, but, well, more for me. So, let's put in our little light show. First of all, let's hop up and get it. So we need the yellow lights. That will be our primary investment. So just 10. 10 should be a good enough for good enough. Very, very good grammar way. It should be good enough to at least get a bunch of test cases for bees done, though we don't have enough in the way of IO expanders anyways, but this will be nice so that we have a good overall representation of what this wall will look like once we, well, have it done. Though, stop moving around on me. I kind of want to get this done. And there we go. Anything else moving? No? Good. It's not like anything would explode on us. No, not at all. So, and fall. I guess that could work. There's only really one way to find out, and there must be some ways to pretty it up, like put... Ooh, that'd be interesting. Let's see if that even works. We're going to need a few of them, and probably just put them like so. There we go. Hollow stone covers, we'll go with that, and we'll cover one or two of them. So we don't want it to just be an ugly thing, and putting them like this so that they're nice and small might be what we need. So when we turn them on, only this will be visible. I don't think the outline will be visible, but that's not what we're looking for. So that kind of makes them small lights instead of the big honking ones. Obviously this won't do anything, and we're probably going to need a few, probably micro block this entire thing up and get that working. So let's make a few covers and do a bit of all of that shenanigans that we will need to finish before, well, we actually focus on any sort of programming or stuff like that. Okay, so this is where the fun part comes in. All of the wiring. We need to make sure that the wires go to the appropriate spots, that they can also be covered up without too much difficulty, and make sure that at the bottom the IO expanders will be good. Now, I can switch to MBT edit, and all that it'll require is me to open up my LAN. That being said, if I open it up, you guys will see my IP address. Guess it doesn't really matter. I could black it out, though that's not really worthwhile. No, I'm not going to open up the MBT edit. It does work, the Forge MBT edit. I just have to make sure I'm in the proper settings for that, though that will come later. How about I stop worrying about it and do that later once I get everything out. So let's wire up. Well, we have 3 extra IO expanders, correct? Yes, we do. If we weren't currently working at the Chasm of Chaos, we would be able to see that quite easily. So let's grab those. So IO expanders, and good thing I have jetpack on. That would have gone very poorly. And we also have some wires. These wires will eventually need to be, well, wired up to a better location. But for now, it'll just be used for these. We might be able to just put the CPU right here and then wire up the monitor to the centralized location. That being said, we'll probably move it anyways. How many times have I said that being said? Because that being said, I cannot believe how many... I'll just wire it up so we can figure out the logic that will be required for this. Okay, here we go. We got it wired. All of them are wired up. We are going to need some more levers to make sure everything's correct, but for now, I think this is good. So we have pretty much 6 B areas 100%, well, done. We just need the coding for them so that we understand the locations that they are in. So let's see, what are we going to need to do? We are going to need to make a computer. We're going to need to get a 4th boot disk, and etc. That's going to be easy enough to create. I think I'll set it up so that it's right in front of here, and maybe wire it up so that our computer is going to be peeking up. That is going to be very easy to do. Wait, we can probably do that just by simply bringing it up like so and connecting the computer right here. Not right there. We're going to need to move it there. So let's make the blocks first, and then we can focus on destroying everything we hold dear. Okay, here we are. We got our centralized processing unit, which we'll probably place here. And then our monitor will place up there, and oops, that is a bad location for it. We might as well place it here so that our back plane can go behind it, on the back, by the way. Disk drive here, and I don't think we need anything else. We just need to get our 4th boot disk. We'll be able to save everything once everything's up and running. Now the problem is the IO expanders, which will require me to hop on to the other thing. So monitor here, we can notice that it is initialized. Probably would be a good idea to cold it so that everything is, well, actually initialized, and we won't have to worry about too much of it. And good thing electric jetpack is on, and etc. So let's see. Oops, that is the wrong thing. 1 IOX. Which one does it turn on? It turns on this one because it happened to be last place or something. I don't know. 0 IOX. Because it's the closest. So, as you can see, all of these IO expanders are set so that they are the 3 IOX address. That we don't really want. So what I think I'm going to do is, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go into LAN. So open the LAN, allow cheats on, and we'll have it survival and start the LAN world. You won't be able to do anything with my IP address, so whatever. So, okay, I had a little internet blip, but let's actually start the Forge MBT edit. So all that's going to be required is me to look at a block and type /nbt edit. And we get this little tile entity thing, and this shows the coordinates. at the upper, and right here is what we're interested in. If we open it, these are all of the MBT tags that the thing has. So the RB address is what we're interested in. By changing this to a 4, we'll change it to the correct MBT, basically the IO expander. So let's see. If we change for IOX address 1 IOX, we'll be able to see that it's actually working on the correct one. So that's good. So all we have to do is go up, change each of them into the subsequent amounts. So this will change to a 5 instead, which is what we need. So MBT edit again, because I am a bit of an idiot and didn't save it. But that's pretty much all we're going to need to do. So I'll change this. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? And then we'll change it back. Or rather, we'll save and get everything ready for when we move onwards. Yeah, I think that actually works out well. We can't really see the upper bit until we, well, go up. So as you can see, that's the only time we see the upper level. That can easily be rectified by, instead of having the hollow stone cover things, we can put a bit of a ring around it, and that should be easily solvable. Now the problem is that when we get to this part, that might not easily be done, but item frames, yeah, that'll work out. So now for here, we'd either want item frames here containing the bees that we want, or we're going to probably have to settle with signs, because currently I do not have every single bee. That is for other people to do. Since I do not have every single bee, it could be a little difficult for me to put them in. For instance, if we look at bees, just be who you want to be, I don't think there is any method to do so, even if I have cheat mode going. That being said, the printer might be able to give everything that we need there. Simple PCB. I don't think we need a PCB, if you please. So we got them all on 3, 4, etc. So what we're going to want to do is get some, at least some of the vanilla bees going on. Now that is going to be a little difficult, but let's see how we can think of it like this. So, as you know, there are a lot of bee species. Eventually, we're going to have this entirely encased with these, with their, forest drone and etc. So forest, and let's go with modest, just to have a bit of clarity. So, what we want this to do is easily say, when we either flip the switch or say, get me a common drone, say common is right here. So this is the common bee. It can probably be a little more pretty if we didn't have wooden signs doing everything, but whatever. So let's get our 0ix from that. When we flip the switch here for common, what we want to happen is for common to basically have, when we flip the common switch, I am horrible at explaining this. When we flip the switch, we want the 2 lights for forest and modest, or rather, more ideally, to have some sort of overall, all of the common types basically light up here. What I want is, say common is here, we want to easily turn on the lights going for the bees that can mutate together into that type. So when we do that, we should have both of the white lights on. There. So we should have that as a possible combination. Now, it could be a bit different, seeing as, well, there are more possibilities for common, but I think having a general line such as all of the hive bees, if you combine them, it can get this, would be what we need. So probably forest modest, we'll probably change the forest into hive. So let's change forest into any hive bee, and this will simplify the process. So this won't do anything since it's a base. And also, flipping the modest switch, not very modest, I know, shouldn't do anything as well since it's a hive B. You could probably put brackets for hive, but that's not what the system is for. There's not supposed to be any sort of idiot check for this. So common, you can make common. What can common be used to create? It can be used to create cultivated, and cultivated needs common and any hive bee to mutate into that. So that's another bee thing that we have. So let's just make another lever quickly enough so that we can have that as an option. Now, we're going to have this a little difficult. Now, there are a few things I will want for when we're getting all this done. And we have to look at the products of the bees to have a better understanding of the undertaking that this will take. So let's check the combs. Just the combs should give a bit of a understanding. We want this to, when we flip it, we want to show what the common also makes. There are a bunch of combs. I'll quickly count them and give you a number. 79 in combs alone, and that is a lot. So we're probably going to want 10 dedicated IO expanders and probably a bunch of numbers I'll be required for that, though I'm not too sure how we're going to do this. There's a lot of stuff that we need, that's for sure. So let's try to work our way slowly enough and get the code base, do a bunch of logic to get everything going. So one of the first things we'll want to do is reset everything. So there, for IOX address 0ix, and we'll want to change the IOX address back to 3 as its basis point for the AnyHive B. So turn that light off, and then turn it back to its original position. Sigh. There we go. After some quick typing, there we go. So now there are a few things, obviously, that these need. I'm going to quickly cheat an item in to check the space that we require, but I'm going to throw it back afterwards. After I paused recording, I just heard several people say, "No way! Don't cheat it in! Craft the bloody item!" So happy I crafted the bloody Apiarist database. So if we check the recipe for it, it was annoying, and let's see. It's a carpenter recipe, though. I did create it. Not sure why it's not showing up in NEI. Anyway, so this Apiarist database tells us everything that we need to know about all of the stuff that we've already discovered, such as the zinc combs and rocky combs from the galvanized, and all the possible biomes that it can stay in. Now what I'm looking for is basically how many notches are on the climate thing. So there's arid, normal, and damp. I don't think there's any other things for the humidity, though for climate there are. So we got 6 lights here, 7, 8, 9. We can probably do one single number to represent that stuff. That'll be easy enough. So let's just do some calculations on what we want for our B. So for our B, we want to be able to represent 5 other sets of Bs at maximum. We're probably not ever going to use that, but it's nice as a just in case measure. So that's 5 with 2 per combination. So there's 10, and we also need to represent the IO expander. And also, what else do we need? We need the temperature and climate. That's easy enough. And for our products, we'll probably have 10 IO expanders, but we can probably do that using some fancy, okay, I want a list of products, so that's going to only require one area. So that's not too bad. What else do we need? We have the IO expander, we have the bees, parents, we got the climate, which is very easy enough to do. And I don't think there's anything else, so let's just figure out the number that we get once we finish all this operation. 13. So 13 cells is the magic number that we need per bee. I'm going to up that to 15 as a precautionary measure so that we can get our code base working a bit better. So let's try to wing the code a bit. We're going to want to make a new bee. And what this will need to do is create the name. And let's see, 15 cells a lot. And that is probably all we're going to need to do with the new bee. So for instance, we'll do create hive bee new bee. And we create a new bee called hive bee, which will be here, so we need to refer it to IO expander number 3. So the first area in our, area would be the IO expander, so that would be 3. Hive bee, and all we need to do is just exclamation mark since it's the 0 cell. And by the way, for instance, when we do 1 cells, not cess, that's a little odd. 1 cells, it'll return a 2. So cells actually just multiplies the number by 2. Huh, tells you about the inner components of this. So anyways, moving onwards, so we got hive bee. We can also create forest, and this is going to be a bee number of, we're not going to worry about that. New bee, and also create modest, and create common new bee, and create cultivated new bee. A cultivated new bee. Imagine that. Okay, good. We didn't miss any capitalization. So we can probably transcribe this. We'll worry about that at a later time. So let's see. Any hive bee plus any hive bee will get common, though I don't think we can do that easily enough. We can probably, if it's done twice, that'll be easy enough. If it occurs twice, all we have to do is, So let's just take one single, Let's try this. Let's create a word that when we give it a B and a wire in that order, it will then turn on that particular light. Or wire and B. B, wire, wire, B. I have no clue. So let's do B and wire. So let's turn on, and we're going to want B and wire, so we need to swap it so that we have the B at the start. We need to do at to get the IO expander, IOX address, and then since we have the wire, we do IOX set. And then that will set the wire to whatever it is. So let's try this. Oh, come on. And I thought the bees hated me. So let's see, forest bee. So we should just be able to do hive bee with a 1 and turn on, and it should turn on the white light. Good. And if we do hive bee 2, turn on, it should turn on the other light. That's good. And it should hold true for modest. So let's try for modest. There we go. And we'll go with modest to turn on. And there we go. That works. We need to have a much better constructed method to create everything. We will need to find out a better API and not just wing it, because just winging it will probably create a lot of useless words that we aren't going to use. For instance, the turn on word is probably a little too simplistic in nature to garner another word. Then again, using object-oriented programming such as Java, that is pretty much what we do. We do a bunch of wasteful stuff. Meh. So I think I'm going to have to cut it a little short today. We're going to need to work on the code structure, and that is going to require quite a bit of time. You'd think I'd be able to have a bit more time, judging by my... No? It's a sign. Oh well. Yeah, we'll work a lot more on it next episode, probably work a bit more on the code. Hopefully the code will be easy enough to maintain, but in between the code and other stuff, we'll need to work on a good graphical display of the products and perhaps make some sort of better center area. Also, having a center area might be a little beneficial. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Yeah, WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day.